Hi golfers, Nick here for Nick Taylor Golf. It's Friday, so welcome to another lesson on golf tips. This week in golf tips, I'm going to share with you golfers probably one of the most common tips that I give to golfers on a daily basis. So this tip we're going to talk about today is going to help you golfers turn better in the golf swing, create more power, and take stress off the body. It's something that's quite overlooked, I find, and a lot of the students that come to me for golf lessons and online, it's one of the first things that I tell them. So in today's video, we're going to discuss something that is really key in the setup position to help you play better golf. So I'm just going to play my normal swing here. I've got a 7-9 here. So this would be my standard swing. So we've got a little par 3. It's got quite a tight pin at the front of the green here, but that's gone to the middle of the green, so not a bad shot. So I stood there how I normally stand, and moved my body how I normally move it. Now, a lot of golfers that would come to me, and this is probably one of the most common things I see, is as they set up to the golf ball, they have their feet dead square to the target line, which you can understand, but their feet are very straight. So you can see from the face on camera here, my feet are pretty much parallel to the target line and dead straight, as you can see. So that's kind of the typical way I see golfers set up, and it kind of makes sense. It's much easier to line your feet when your feet are dead straight. It's much easier to gauge where your ball position would be when your feet are dead straight. It kind of makes sense, like we're standing square to the target, right? It's an easier way to line up to the golf ball. Now, the problem with that, it comes when it restricts the golfer's ability to turn in the golf swing. If your feet are dead straight, it will restrict how much you turn. You'll probably tend to slide or sway in the golf swing as well if your feet are dead straight. Another thing it does is it puts stress on the body. So if I try and hit a shot here, I'm going to try and do this as normal as I can. I'm going to try and keep my feet dead square, see if I can hit a normal swing here. Okay, so that was actually a pretty good shot, and pretty typical here. I'll probably hold it, almost hold it. That kind of wasn't the point, but anyway, you can play golf like that, that's the point, I think you can play golf like that. The problem with that is that it will tend to put stress on your body, and it restricts how much you can turn. So in my experience, that standing dead square to the target line will prove more problems in the long term, and it restricts how much speed you can create. So between those two shots there, although that second one was slightly better, the speed that I swung that was a little bit slower. It was about 5–10% slower in speed, because it restricts how much I can move in the golf swing. And it's not just about speed, it's also about your injury prevention and the longevity that you can play the game. So you can play golf like that. I mean, it makes sense, and that's why I think it's one of the hardest things to change, and it's a very simple thing to change. So what I get golfers to do is, as they set up to the golf ball, I get them to flare their feet outwards, just like this, and this helps them turn their body. It helps them take stress off their joints. Not only have my feet turned out, but my knees are also turned out as well. So as I set up to the golf ball here, I generally will have the left foot flared a little bit more than the right, and especially that helps to turn and move the weight through into the finish. If you have your left foot square, it's definitely restricting the movement as you rotate, and it puts stress on the ankle and the knee. So the left foot I would flare out a little bit more, but I'd also turn the right one out, and also the right knee, because that's going to help us turn in the golf swing. Now, something else you can do to help you take stress off the joints and turn a little bit easier, not only flaring the feet out, but also by changing your knee flex. So when you swing here, my left knee bends forward, as you can see from the camera here, and this right leg straightens. So my hips here are turning on a tilted angle, and they're turning more degrees. If I set up with my feet square, restrict my knee flex and keep them bent, it's much harder to turn. My swing will tend to go a little bit more upright, and it won't create as much power or speed in the swing. So as I set up here, turning my feet out and my knees out. Now, so I think where a lot of players will struggle with this is the lining up. So I tend to line up my toes square to the target line. I think people struggle with that when their feet turn out. I had one guy say to me, oh, when I turn my left foot out, I hit the ball to the left, which is crazy, right? The club face controls what the ball does, not the left foot. Left foot will just help you turn a bit easier coming through. So when you set up, turn both feet out, turn both knees out, and then when you swing, change that knee flex to help you turn. Helps you turn on a tilted angle, and it helps you turn more degrees and take stress off the body. So when you set up, turn the feet out, line up the toes, square to the target line. It takes a bit of practice. I think it's hard to sometimes look down at this and see that your feet are turned out. I think it puts people off, and I can understand that. But you need to try and do it to help turn and take stress off the body for the long term. So set up, you can see here I've got my heel on pretty much where my left shoulder is on the grid here, ball position behind that. The left foot's turned out quite a lot, and when you first do this, you have to exaggerate it. So I suggest using a video, because in my experience, when you tell someone to do it, they don't do it enough and it feels like they're doing it. So certainly I don't think you can do it enough, and you look at a lot of the best players, they have their feet turned out, and it's much easier then to create speed and take stress off the body. So yeah, not a bad shot, that last one. Pretty close again. So turn your feet out. It might not help the next shot, but it's certainly going to help you create more speed, hit the ball further, and take stress off the body. That's certainly the number one thing that I tell my students when they come into the bay and take lessons. It's something that I think is overlooked. It's something that I think makes a big difference to the golf swing. It helps you rotate, take stress off the joints. So I'll be interested to hear you guys out there if you turn your feet out, if you don't. If you've been told to do that, I think certainly it would help you improve your golf. So golfers who enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't already, please follow me on my other social media platforms if you want to find out a little bit more about the stack and tilt golf swing. Check out this playlist. And I'll see you again next week for another video.